1979, and in the last few weeks or months, it was acquired under new management, new ownership, and is now being turned into a classic Volvo, or just Volvo repair place. It was a tech from the local dealership. After 12, 13 years, he's now moved in here and taken over to refurb the business, and we are using it today to host our car club meet. SLO Rolling, which you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, I'll put those right here, is Los Angeles' largest Volvo group. We're growing it more and more every year, and month after month we have events in town. Today, wow, all my windows are so smudgy. That's why I've got this. But today we're just hosting a little meet where we get to hang out and have some coffee and donuts, check out the new shop, and meet with our friends in the beginning of the year. So I really got to clean my windows. It's going to bug me. So let me take a pause right now. I just rolled it down. Okay. We've seen this duet in other videos from the club. This is Ron and Anna Russell. And they always get the best spot because this car is just so cool. It's one of Volvo's coolest designs, and it was a platform that was used, as many of you well know, a lot of service delivery vehicles, light duty utility vehicles, even ambulances. And then Volvo has a cool program from generation to generation where they had like ambulances, hearses, official vehicles, things like that. But this is their biggest platform, I think, in that time for non-military use. Speaking of, it'd be so cool to find like a Laplander or a Volp, the C202, a 303, 6x6 kind of giant military vehicle. Can't wait to get one of those here at the shows, but that'd be a fun daily driver, right? 50 miles an hour top speed. This is a 72, I believe, Steve's Wagon. And the 72s have these really cool like teardrop rear bumperettes on the backside, but this is a beautiful car and a beautiful color. And there's just something about the black on yellow, yellow on black. The brown carpets just scream the 70s because it's got the matching wood dash, and it's almost identical to the interior on my 164 in terms of the color of the carpet, color of the dash, and the whole scheme of things. Now, mine's also a 72, but he's got the shift knob, the ball, and look at that air conditioning, how nice. So a lot of folks do remove the bumperettes on the bottom, but that's one quick way to tell the 72 from the 73, which are the 2 years of the ES. Now, up next is 1972 Volvo 164, the big inline six engine. Love this car. As I was waxing yesterday, I was just reminiscing on the fun adventure that I had where Colville Griffith out in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to him and Anthony Schuler and the whole family out there, man. It was such a good time. I'll link to that video below if you want to see the purchase, first impressions of the car, and a little bit of the road trip to get it from North Carolina back here to Los Angeles. Funny thing is, discovered chemical guys, VRP, vinyl, rubber, and plastic, cleaner, conditioner, UV protectant, and it really makes these tires shine. And actually used it on all the dashboard, so that's why it's real greasy in there, but it's water-based, so allow my quick rant. Not a product placement, but just something that I was really impressed with. And also waxing the rings. Even dented, beat up old chrome rings look good when they're clean, so voila. All right. Bit of wax. Always the next day after waxing, you're like, all right, here we go. So you want to wait a little bit between shows. The color of this interior I call biscuit, and it looks delish. And the period correct 8-track player does work. Got Billy Joel's 52nd Street, which is one of the greatest albums I have heard, and it's from 1979, I believe. So it's kind of cool to have all of that there. I use the VRP even on the headliner, but we're here to talk about cars, not cleaning. 66 P1800. This is interesting to think about how coach builders of old cars, originally bumpers were not included because the styling of the car, it's beautiful, and the coach builders like, we don't design it with a bumper, so the government says, yeah, you need a bumper, you need a bigger bumper, you need a bigger bumper. And it went from, skinny like these two, 72, 73, bumper had to be a little bit bigger and it's sticking out like an additional 3-4 inches. You can see this black bar. And then 74, they went gigantic, kind of like the 240. This is a later one, but the early ones are like this, but even bigger, you know? So, yeah, bumpers have always been like a design element that the designers have to work around the regulations, etc. But I don't know much about this car yet. I think it's Gary who owns it, and it's got a fresh paint job, and I think it's straight from Ohio. Mm-hmm. Man, it's got that nice old car smell. Something about that smell. Very nostalgic. All right, this is Mike Palmer's. This car gets a lot of miles on it. Just cross-country road trips or trips locally. A lot of the guys down in the San Diego Volvo Sports America will go out and do, this was their 310 to Yuma run. They'll do like a 5-6 day just road trip around California desert into Arizona, sometimes Nevada. So yeah, that's a cool club to be plugged in with if you're down in San Diego. Okay, so Boris here has a really cool thing that he just did. He is a woodworker by trade, and he's always designing cool little things for his 164. And the latest little gizmo here. First of all, this center cup holder, very cool. But the other one is, oh boy, I don't want to get demonetized. He's got a phone charger right here that he put in with the ashtray. I think that's kind of a cool thing. So you can plug in your phone and it sits nicely there. Whereas I'm always trying to fiddle, like, where'd I put my phone? And it will fall from the dash or slide off the seat when I brake or turn. So, beautiful color, red on red. Yum, wine red. Okay, I don't know who owns this one, but this is interesting. Wow, that's beautiful. I love this. This is probably the 960s inline. No, this is a later, huh? From an S80 perhaps? Or it's a single, I almost said Vanos, a single variable valve timing unit. I gotta know more about this car. I love this tiny Optima too. Leaves lots of space for other things, but that's, it says yellow Prius. Okay, so now we know we can put a Prius battery and it's gonna have enough juice to start an engine like this. Look at the heat shield, gold foil. I love that. That looks like some quality stuff. It hasn't distorted yet, so wow, this is a really cool build, and reminds me so much of my first 240, which was my very first Volvo. Actually, it was a 78 242, and I just have such a soft spot for the flat hoods. Originally, I was like, oh, it looks kind of old and ugly, and then I was like, wait, this is the one. Out of all of them, it's my favorite. A 960 Wagon, which is, I think, 1996. This belongs to Patrick. Patrick in the white there. He's been running the show with me and Angela as we kind of coordinate and plan events every month. And this thing is so clean. I usually call it a grandma car because it's like, you know, it's the grocery getter. The kids grow up in the back seat. Regular Car Reviews just did a video on a 940 Wagon. So funny. I should recommend that you see that. There's a lot of good jokes in there, but about like the kind of culture or experiences that people could have had with the kind of parents who buy Volvos. But, you know, we're all the weirdos who love them. 53,000 miles in supple leather. Look at these doors, by the way. Ready? Oofa. Look at that. All right. Good people. Thanks for joining. And I just can't get over the fact that these roof bars are body colored. Huh? This is the problem. I go on and on and on and start talking too much, but a lot of body color pieces, like interesting here and here, and I wonder what this is. Maybe an antenna option. One of my favorite things to do back when I was a junkyard dog, beware of dog, is I would get the spoilers from these, trim down just about a ½ inch on either side, and glue it to the back of a wagon, 240 Wagon, because they fit really nicely there on the hatch. So a little bit of double-sided tape, and bada boom, you're in business. One of the details I really like about this is they hide the rear wiper blade completely through this cover, so it actually keeps a very aesthetic line all the way through. And we did a just for fun, closed course, we'll call it, red light get the jump on each other with my V8 XC90, and I didn't expect him. I was just like, hey, you want to race? He goes, yeah, so calmly. And I was like, haha, he probably didn't hear me. Light turns green, he takes off. This inline six is screaming all the way up to 6,000 RPM, and it was like pulling on me. And I was like, oh snap, he's going for it. So I was like, I better put my foot down too. And this is a 1997 or 98 V90. I think 98. So that'd be like the last year of the rear-wheel drive cars. And then we've got this baby right here. This is a 73 orange ES. When we had the Davis show last year, we had, I think, 4 orange ESs there. So I'm hoping for a record of 5 this year. That'd be so cool. But he's got orange brake calipers with the orange center cap on these, do they call them mini lights? And a matching orange cup. Roger, on brand. Hey, is Henry leaving or is he just moving? This is interesting too. Shut carefully, door locked when key is turned. If you need replacement stickers like some of these original ones, you really want to go to VP Auto Parts. That's the place that is direct to manufacturer and even the manufacturer of so many cool parts. Another interesting thing I learned, there was an accessory here for the rear wiper motor, which is a very uncommon, I've never seen one. I think it's a European thing to have a little wiper that installs here. But yeah, lots of space in this. Somebody earlier was saying, if I had to get a grocery getter, it'd be the ES. Makes sense, because you could put a lot of stuff. You could probably put some lumber in here too. But you never want to slam the glass. I'm always kind of having to tell people, it's an old car, but Volvo's so impressive with the way their doors close. You don't really need to slam a properly adjusted Volvo door. It's just going to be very nice. Let me see. Can I demonstrate your door closing? You know what else is cool about this? The key sits right between there, so it doesn't put stress on the teeth. It puts all the stress on the head of the key. That's a nice design feature. Okay. Because some of them can be real soft, Wow. That sounds so good too. Thank you. It does. I'm very tactile. Do you remember the name of the wheels? Oh, Panasport, right? Panasport or Mini Light? Super Light. Oh boy. I never know. Now we've got a trio of P80 cars. Now, cool. An 850 T5, a V70R, and an 850R. Gosh, the red R's are just beautiful. The S70 generation, as many of you know, is so similar to these. The interior changed, much of the body stayed exactly the same, but the taillights, the bumpers, they all got a refresh, all one color. And if we had a V70 Wagon, you can compare that, but you could see doors are the same, minus a little bit of the trim work. The mirrors, same thing. Awesome. Now, most of the 850s in America are going to be automatic, especially all of the R's in America. So if anybody goes to the trouble of doing a 5 or 6 speed swap, ooh, you know what? There might be a few that came manual as R's in America, but I don't know. You guys let me know down below. And cool little airbox on this one where it's just forcing all the cool air from just the front of the car. So it kind of isolates a lot of the heat there. So if you can breathe cooler, you can make a little bit more power on that end. I wonder if this has what's called the reverse intercooler piping kit. I don't remember enough about these because traditionally they wouldn't have the pipe over the top. It would be like this, where it would go down and around, and then by doing the reverse intercooler piping, I think you lower the intake air temperature quite substantially, and I think IPD does that there too. Anytime you're shopping for one of these, you really got to know for sure when the timing belt was last done, because that's one of the bigger question marks. Yes, you can peel the cover open a little bit and have a peek in there, especially with this. It's real easy with the little tab and then just see if it's cracked, but still, you don't want to have a problem with that. I remember once pulling really hard, maybe I was racing with my V70 T5 manual, and the timing seal went out, covered the belt in oil. I got home and noticed it immediately, and I know anytime oil gets on your timing belt, you gotta fix that leak immediately, because that timing belt's gonna soak and it's gonna break. And if it breaks on this, these are a lot more forgiving. This, interference engines, All right, this car's always a hoot and a holler. It's Garen's Ghostbuster build with all the lights and accessories that one could hope for. And I think it looks really good with the bumper on too. It kind of completes the look of the car, and then the accessories can compliment that. It's got the sleepy eye little lids on it. It's got working sirens and lights. I don't know the degree of how much the local PD cares about blue lights on the top like that, but it doesn't have any signs or badges that are, you know, impersonating an official vehicle. So it's just for funsies. And I'll tell you, it's fun ski. I think this is Cal's wagon. He was telling me that he's really happy with the M47 on the B230 non-turbo. It's just enough power, and it pulls and it cruises 90 miles an hour happily, so that's really cool. And here's an interesting thing about the 240 that I'm noticing here is he's painted all of the black trim white around the sides, which really kind of changes the perspective a bit on the car. I think they would go black even here. So all of that trying to be like one big line design-wise. So let me step back and let's see how we feel about that. When you have it white, some of the early cars were stainless. Huh, yeah, it kind of breaks up the lines a little bit. You can notice something funny about the wagon now that we have this as an example. The back door slopes downward. Isn't that interesting? Because look at over here on this 244, the back door has the same slope downward. And that's a design element to keep, one, the doors all interchangeable, and two, by painting it black, you can hide a little bit of that because cars have a curve to it, like here, like a bicep, where the, you know, a nice shape. It's very pleasing to the eye to have a curve to the roof of the car like that. So if we were just to have straight across doors, it would be a little So having it slope down and then having this all blacked out means that it's interchangeable between the two models. Made Volvo's life a lot easier that way. So this is a very clean example of a 240 wagon, and it's got some nice BBSs on there. I hope I'm getting that right. Okay, so we're now into the very corner of things. This is a super clean 740, and Sydney also has a Mercedes at home, which is kind of funny because we're surrounded by some pretty cool Mercedes here. We'll take a peek at them in a minute, but this is also, what can we say, like a grandma car? In other words, it's a survivor, low mileage, garage kept for many years, and then when it goes up for sale, it ended up in a pretty good home right now. So they've been so good at turning out for events every time we get together. And I remember last time I was like, can I sit in your car? I really want to feel how nice these seats are, because I'm supposed to be shopping around for Mercedes seats to put in another 164 build for a customer who happened to really like the nostalgia and the feel of Mercedes horsehair seats. But I'll tell you, as far as comfort, Volvo, I mean, they've got it down. Mercedes is good, but Volvo, come on, year by year, so comfortable. This is an 86 450 SL, at least 86. That's when they started the third row brake lights. It's so funny how the 240 actually, yeah, watch for cables. The 240 outlived its successor, which was the 740, because as they made this car to replace that car, this was still selling year after year after year. And I think the 740 ended in like 91 or 1990, and then the 940 came in and took over. I don't think we have any 940s here, but very similar to the 740, just kind of redefined and restyled a bit, and then that carried on into 94, 95, yeah. So anyway, it's just cool. It's so cool that the 240 became like Volvo's bestseller flagship, and now it's so desirable among young people. Anybody who grew up in one kind of has that like nostalgia of being in the back seat. A lot of people I've sold Volvos to in my time as an independent salesperson, in other words, how I paid my way through college by flipping cars with Soren, was they all had stories about like, oh, I grew up in a 240. I remember like my dad, my mom, grandpa, grandma, all the way, every model from the rear wheel drive, the push rod, the 544, 1800s, 122s. Gosh, there's gonna be some great photos here in a minute. But anyway, I like the stories, so I'm hoping that you guys have some as well, and you can relate to that, because it's a cool feeling, you know, trying to recapture the emotion. You know, cars are about emotion. It's supposed to make you feel something. You don't want to drive something boring. You know, life is too short to drive a boring car. And I also like to say that Sundays are for hydrocarbons, which means tomorrow we got Cars and Coffee down at Griffith Park. So last Sunday of every month, if you're in Los Angeles, come on out, Griffith Park, merry-go-round, parking lot, I think number 2. It's the upper one. Can't miss it. Everywhere you go in and out of Griffith Park on a Sunday morning between 7 and 9, you're gonna see a bunch of cool classic cars coming or going to Cars and Coffee. Everything from, you know, old Alfa Romeo, like old Giulias, Giuliettas, to, gosh, a Ferrari F40. A couple of these guys were all regulars there, so it's really cool. 1990. Hey, it says right there on the plate. Anyway, that's been enough of me talking. I'm gonna leave you with some interesting 3-spokes and some chrome Altezza taillights. You remember the 2000s? Because I sure do. And this was it. Wow. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure that you're subscribed because it helps keep the channel growing, and the more people are coming, the better we can kind of grow our community, because that's really what it's all about. Volvo's always about community. So, all right, see you on the flip-flops. Have a great 2023. Love the Yamaha 4.4. Love the Yamaha 4.4. I love the Yamaha 4.4. Can't wait to get into an S80 though. A little less weight, a little better handling. This should be a really sweet ride. I'm inside the S80 V8 and I'm in love. And it smells so good. And it has cooled seats and vented seats and heated seats. And it's just so good. I'm not crying, you're crying. I think this is the one. This is, ooh la la. Hello, somebody. I asked him between the R Design Polestar package, Öhlins dampered, fancy top of the line 4-cylinder, twin charged, supercharger, turbocharger, and the V8 S80. Which do you like to drive better? And George said, this is it. This is the one. And I'm like, I get it, man. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. Wow. I love leather that's like well worn like this, where you got the not cracking, but like the wrinkling in them a little bit, like nice worn shoes, you know? Yeah. The wood is beautiful too, and like the floating waterfall dash, where like it goes all the way through. It's real nice. So, ooh. I'm very tactile, you know, so I'm always like touching and feeling things, and this car feels good. It smells so nice too. It should have a bigger back seat than the S60s as well. Let's check it out. It's got a bubble for your headroom too. Oh, nice. I'm actually kind of comfy. Beautiful. My goodness. And then what do we have over here? Will this be the turbo and supercharged one? It's just all plasticky. It's hard to make sense of it because I don't know what I'm looking at. But look at that, the Öhlins dampers. Ooh. So this has the fancy everything. Yep, there's the R, all-wheel drive, and Polestar. Beautiful. Okay. Really nice. And then what do we have over here? Oh, baby. The old B&B, bread and butter. Cool beans. See, nothing like an inline 6. It's a popular platform. Look at that tiny carburetor though, huh? Didn't take much to move a truck. Cool. It's so exciting when it's the beginning like this. Look at that toolbox, amazing. It's got its own suspension system. It's cool, the potential, you know, when you start a project. Really cool. Nice, cozy. And so it begins. Exciting to think about the early days when a shop is starting. Nice. You know, I was thinking about, you know, when a dealership moves location, all the vintage parts probably get tossed out. So I'm curious what happened to all them old parts. As far as gloves go, you want those heavy-duty nitrile. Really good stuff. Yeah, orange or bust. This is very cozy, especially with the green floor.
I see that you drove it in a Honda. I was thinking about it, but the GMCs are a little more expensive than what I can sell the Ford.
I got you.
Really?
Wow.
I gotta wait for someone to hit it.
Excuse me, what? Wow. Wow.
That startled me too.
What do you run on? Steam?
No.
What are we looking at here? Look at that.
What is this?
The comfiest sofa. Oh, come on now. 1909 Packard? This car's older than me.
That's how I interpret that.
Wow. Wow. Oh, yeah. Now we get it. Now I get it. Record. This is it. Oh, wow. San Marino Motor Classic. That's the old LA Concours d'Elegance. Amazing. Anyway, this is kind of cool too. I can't really make heads nor tails of any of this. Wow. Okay, so I was talking about we didn't get any Laplanders, C202s, 303s, but look at this little guy. The Jeep 4-wheel drive. This is so cool. What in the... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slats. Look at you. What? Ain't much to it. Oh, there's the motor. Fascinating. It's just real compact. This is so great. This would be a fun little daily driver, huh? Check that out. Vertical logo on the Jeep on the tailgate. Oh, that's so rad. Well, that trailer drove in this thing. Love that color. It looks just...
Said it has a Model A, modified Model A.
Always a little narrow between the pedals and the driver. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get out of the way here. No, I should.
It's no different than our...
Yeah, it's beautiful color. It's got that Harley Davidson color combination.
That's true, yeah.
Or this could predate it in a way.
Oh, that's my...
And it might be an insult to the guys who know. Be like, this is... Oh, actually, Harley Davidson stole it from us. Who knows? It's beautiful, though. Yeah, that's really great for this. Oh, sorry again. You know, it matches the plate, too. I wonder if that's the intention behind the color scheme. But it's really a gorgeous ride. And everything looks beautifully powder-coated. No wonder Jay Leno bought a car from this trailer. He does good work. Huh. This thing is so cool. Look at this compared to the Tesla. It's big. Easily distracted. There goes Walter. There we go. Early to shift, early to rise. So after a very successful show, you gotta go to a very successful restaurant chain. This is the Hat. And when I say that this is the best pastrami in the world, it probably lives up to it. I've been to the Hat several times, never disappoints. And the best thing is, their address is 1 West Valley. This is the original location. Oh, it's a pile of brown.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do I tap it or insert it?
Top one,